Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment if you enjoyed the video. I thought my wife was working late. Then I found a text that changed everything. My wife and I have been married for 7 years. We have 2 young kids. A few weeks ago, she started staying up until 3 a.m. every night. At first, I didn't think much of it. She said work was stressful. Then, one night, I got up to get a glass of water, and I saw a name on her phone I didn't recognize. Mike, her boss. The message said, "Can't stop thinking about today." My stomach dropped, but I convinced myself I was overreacting. Then the messages kept coming. Wish we could have stayed longer by the river. Today was exactly what I needed. And that's when I noticed something else. The nights she claimed she was working late were the same night she was messaging him. Then I found the text, the one I can't get out of my head. "Last night was incredible." And my wife replied, "We need to be careful. My husband is starting to ask questions." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. Now I don't know what to do. Confront her? Leave? Or keep digging for answers? What would you do? My son intentionally damaged someone's car. Now I'm stuck with a $1,200 bill. My one-year-old son was staying with my ex. While he was there, he intentionally scratched a neighbor's car, and the entire thing was caught on camera. There was no denying it. A few days later, the repair estimates came back. $1,200. That's when my ex called me and told me I needed to pay half. No discussion. No compromise. Just, "He's your son too." But here's where I'm struggling. The damage happened during her custody time, at her house, to her neighbor. I wasn't even there. And now she says I'm responsible for hundreds of dollars in damages. Don't get me wrong. What my son did was completely wrong. The neighbor deserves to be paid, and my son should absolutely make things right. But my ex also wants me to apologize to a stranger I've never even met. I'm willing to help, but am I really obligated to pay for something that happened entirely on her watch? AITA for taking DoorDash away from my dying mom with cancer? My mom has cancer and lives in a nursing home. I gave her access to my DoorDash account so she could order food she actually wanted. At first, it worked great, but as her condition got worse, she started accidentally ordering random food. Sometimes she'd order it, then fall asleep before it arrived. I ended up spending hundreds of dollars on food she never received or ate, so I removed my card from the account. I told her I'd still bring food myself or place orders for her. She agreed, but now she's telling family members I cut her off from food. And everyone says I'm abandoning my sick mother. My boyfriend has cancer, and one request nearly ended our relationship. My boyfriend was recently diagnosed with bladder cancer. After the diagnosis, I finally asked him for one thing. We've been together for 4 years, and every time we're on the phone, I hear him light a cigarette. The click, the inhale, the exhale. I've hated it for years, but I never said anything. Then he got cancer, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore. So I asked, "Can you please stop smoking?" I just didn't want to hear it anymore. He immediately hung up, then ignored me for an entire day. When he finally called back, he told me I was making his cancer diagnosis. All about me. Then he said, "Can you keep your feelings on hold until after my surgery?" I know he's scared. I know he's overwhelmed. But I've already lost family members to cancer. And hearing him smoke after being diagnosed is heartbreaking. Was I wrong for asking? AITA for refusing to forgive the man my sister caught cheating? My sister and I have always been best friends. A few years ago, she started dating a guy who slowly became controlling. He pushed family away, got her financially dependent on him, and constantly blamed her for everything. After she gave birth, he complained she wasn't cleaning enough, while she was recovering and caring for a newborn. Then one day, she caught him cheating. She came home and found another woman in their bed. I took time off work to help her, helped care for the baby, and supported her through the breakup. But a few months later, she got back together with him. Now she expects everyone to forgive him. My family has. I haven't. I'll be civil at family events. But I refuse to pretend we're friends. Now my sister says I'm holding a grudge. After 14 years of raising my kids alone, I'm thinking about giving my ex full custody. Even saying that makes me feel like a terrible mother. I'm 34 years old. I have 2 kids. And I became a mom at 19. For the last 14 years, my entire life has been about them. While my friends were building careers, traveling, and figuring out who they were, I was working, parenting, and barely surviving. Their father and I split years ago, and ever since then, it feels like I've been doing this completely alone. I've stretched every dollar, skipped things I needed, and sometimes even risked losing my housing just to make sure my kids had what they needed. Meanwhile, my ex was taking vacations, buying new cars, and living comfortably. I don't blame my kids. They're amazing. I love them more than anything. But lately, I feel like I'm drowning. I'm exhausted. I'm overwhelmed. And I don't even know who I am anymore outside of being a mom. Then I had a thought that instantly made me feel guilty. What if their father took full custody? Not because I don't love my children, not because I don't want them, but because after 14 years, I honestly don't know how much longer I can keep carrying this by myself. Does that make me a horrible mother? AITJ for having a baby even though my daughters begged me not to? I'm 50 years old. And a few months ago, I found out I was pregnant. I was completely shocked. But after talking to doctors and thinking about it for months, I decided I wanted to keep the baby. That's when everything exploded. My daughters are completely against it. They say having a baby at 50 is embarrassing and that people will judge our family. My younger daughter says I'm ruining everyone's lives. My older daughter called it a disgrace. They're also angry because I told them some financial things might change. For example, I suggested my 7-year-old get a summer job if she wants extra spending money. She did not like that. But the most painful part? They told me that if I have this baby, they will never consider it their brother or sister, and they want nothing to do with it. Now they say I'm choosing a new family over them. But it's my child, and I don't think I should end a wanted pregnancy just because my adult children don't approve. AITA because I'm furious my date shared my dating profile without permission? I went on one date with a former college soccer coach. During dinner, he found out my son was playing in a tournament that college scouts would be attending. He got excited and offered to contact a coach he knew. I specifically told him, please don't. My brother had already handled it. But the very next day, he called the coach anyway. I was annoyed, but I figured he was just trying to help. Then things got weird. At the tournament, the coach kept flirting with me. He complimented my appearance, kept touching my arm, and asked about my dating life. Later, my date dropped a bombshell. He admitted he had sent the coach a photo from my dating profile, so the coach could recognize me. And here's the craziest part. He also told me he thought this coach was a womanizer, so he ignored my boundaries. He shared my dating profile without permission and sent it to a guy he didn't even trust. When I got upset, he just said, I'm sorry you feel that way. I gave my student a C, then his mom tried to bribe me to change the grade. I'm a middle school science teacher. Students had to build an ecosystem model mostly in class. One student turned in a rushed shoebox project. It had several mistakes. So I gave him a C. 2 days later, his mom showed up carrying a giant model, fake moss, plastic animals, printed labels, even working lights. She said this was the student's real project and demanded I replace the grade. I refused. The assignment was supposed to be completed in class, and this clearly wasn't the same project. Now she's complaining to the principal and says I embarrassed her son. My brother's ex falsely accused me of a crime, then called my mom 5 times. My brother's ex accused me of shoplifting, even though I didn't steal anything. My fiance, 2 friends, and I stopped by a store to look at gun safes. We didn't buy anything. As we walked out, The anti-theft alarm went off. We checked our pockets, had nothing, and kept walking. A few hours later, I got a message from my brother's ex. She works at the store. She accused me of stealing, told me I'd be arrested if I ever came back, and claimed every employee knew who I was. Then it got even weirder. She called my mom 5 times at 11 p.m. and left a voicemail about what she'd do if I came back to the store. I called the manager the next day. But now I'm wondering, would I be wrong for reporting her and possibly getting her fired?